Well, I always wanted to be a soldier, you know. I always wanted to be.
I always wanted to join an army, you know. Well, I was going to join the French Foreign Legion, believe it or not, you know. I joined the army around June the 20th, I think it was around the 26th of June, 1979.
Came in the army in 74, when they were really recruiting then a lot for the border and that, you know. There was a lot of things happening on the border.
As a result of obviously the troubles in Northern Ireland, there was an increased security presence along the border with Northern Ireland, and in the early 70s, the Irish Army presence was boosted along the border, and troops were sent from all over the country.
The IRA and the UVF and all them, they all started acting the agent, you know. And of course, the Irish Army was so depleted at the time. There must have been only around 6,000 in the Irish Army. And to maintain the border, on our side of the border, they needed the troops. So they had to recruit.
I applied for the British Army, and my mate Jimmy Darkin, he was, we were the best of buddies. We were in a hostel together. Jimmy joined the army first, and then about just after he passed out, I signed up for the British Army, and 3 weeks after that, he was in hospital in a coma. We were told that he'd been bullied in the British Army, you know, and then about 3 weeks later he died. So I just said, not to hell with the British Army. You know?
I was involved in training weapons platoons. Now that's mortars, anti-tank guns, machine guns. That's what it's like.
I started driving, like, you know, but before that, like, I was in the infantry. That was the 3rd Infantry Battalion. It was called the Bloods.
I was only away once in Lebanon in 1978.
I went to South Lebanon. I hated it. I didn't like the climate, I didn't like the food, and I didn't like the people.
So that's fair enough. Why
yeah, I just couldn't wait to get back to Ireland, you know. Just hated every minute of it.
We had troops in Lebanon, in southern Lebanon, from 1978 until 2001. A full battalion with 3 companies deployed in a ground holding position. So they had checkpoints in most villages and towns, and doing so, they got to know the towns and villages very well, they got to know the land very well, but they also got to know the people very well. And there's still a connection between the Irish Defence Forces and the village of Demine in southern Lebanon.
We sort of did Wadi patrols, you know, which is going along the ridge of the Wadis, like, you know, and going through villages and stuff like that, you know.
We done patrols, OPs, what's called OPs, observation posts. You were on the Israeli border, right? And you had all these OPs along that. You were watching the Israelis, making sure they weren't acting the age, and that the phalanges, who were the Christian militia, they weren't acting the age either, you know what I mean?
We're all based in different places. You know, we travel from one base to another. You know, we start off in a place called Adatta, then we move to Cooney and Safahawa, Bradshire, Diamantar, Sultanaya, and on other places. But we'll be based in one place for 1 month at a time. Yeah, I had some great mates that went over to Lebanon with us. Yeah. Some great mates.
We were more or less humanitarian. That was really our job there, you know what I mean? Even though we were peacekeeping, rather than, we weren't peace enforcing now. There is a difference, peace enforcing and peacekeeping.
We were deployed in a Chapter 6 peacekeeping mission, so that was absolutely reactive from that perspective. So we couldn't open fire on anyone. We could only fire when our own personal safety was in danger. So it was the thin blue line, classic peacekeeping, where you had 2 belligerents on both sides of a line, and they they went at it from time to time.
When we fired back, we knew what we were doing. And he knew why we were doing it. Like, as a soldier, you can actually expect to be killed. But civilians shouldn't be involved.
My favourite time was being in Tel Aviv in Israel and going to Jerusalem and Bethlehem. That was my favourite time, on leave, like, you know. And the worst memory being in Lebanon, getting food poisoning. Believe it or not. That was my worst, being stuck in a hospital bed for a month.
One particular child, he was 12 years of age. He was on one of the mountains. He was herding in the goats. And he stepped on a landmine. He was blown apart. We had to go look for him. That was the worst of it. And we were only picking up bits of him. That was my experience. That's it.